Yep, go ahead.
Thanks for joining us, Amir. You've been out of the ring a year now, and there's not a lot you can do about it at the current time. What is next for you?
So yeah, it's coming on to a year in August, and it is quite difficult at this moment in time. Obviously, not being able to have an opponent and get into a proper fight again. I have been training a little bit. I've been doing a little bit of training, one day on, one day off. We just don't know when this lockdown is going to finish, and I just feel that I feel for the younger fighters, the up-and-coming fighters, because they're the ones who are going to be affected the most, especially through this COVID-19 now, where they're not allowed to. A lot of people are not allowed to train, but now slowly the gyms are slowly opening it up again. But I've got my own gym, which I'm quite lucky that I have, so I can pop in there just on my own and do a session there myself. But it's difficult times, and I do love boxing, and I want to be back in the ring again, be back with a fighting date, and I can get back to normality again.
Yeah, I mean, you're young, you're only 33, but these sort of delays aren't good for you at this stage of your career. I mean, do you accept
Definitely.
You're on the home stretch?
Exactly. Look, I'm on the home stretch now, and I always said I want to retire young, and I want to retire intact as well, with my mind intact and everything, and be, just wanting to have maybe one or two more fights. But like the way things are going now, I don't know if those one or two fights are going to happen. And I am now considering my future, see what route I take and what I do next. And it's just difficult times for us at this moment in time.
I mean, if this went on for another few months, because don't forget, you can't box behind closed doors, because you ain't going to go and box for $10,000 or, you've got to box for proper money. If this was still going on, say, next January, and it would mean 18 months out the ring at your age, could you just think, I can't carry on now?
Yeah, I'm in a good position, and it's a bad position. Bad position being obviously be getting older now, and like I did say, I am more towards the end of my career where I want to just finalize it and get that one big fight and call it a day, or I call it a day. Financially, I'm secure, and I can just kind of go on to something else then. So yeah, it is difficult times for us, especially the younger fighters who's supposed to be fighting every other month. They're finding it even harder because they need to keep themselves busy. But yeah, I'm just kind of just staying cool. We're doing a little bit of training. So then if that date does come in January, I would probably maybe take one more fight. But if not, then let's see how it all turns out. It just depends on my body feels. I might wake up one morning and think I can't do it no more, And at this moment in time, I'm still going strong. I still love the sport, and I still want to be back in the ring again.
You mentioned just one or two fights. In our ideal world, who would those two fights be against? Because you might need, for the first fight, you might need the outing before you go in against a big name again.
Yeah, look, one big name I'd love to fight is Manny Pacquiao. There's always been talk about that fight happening, and obviously he's interested in the fight, but it just depends on which country wants to put the money down and say, yeah, we'll buy that fight. There's that fight, obviously, that talks about Kell Brook as well, but he's moved to 154, so I don't think that fight's going to happen. So, yeah, I think coming back with a tune-up fight, get back in that ring again, get moving it again, and then go into a big fight. A Manny Pacquiao fight would be something massive.
I mean, what's the latest on a Pacquiao fight? I mean, it's always being whispered in papers, and I've seen people come and always blame you for putting his name out there, but it's always being discussed by others, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, the reason I bring it out is because I've been told by investors that they want to put that fight on, different countries that we that want to host the fight. So it's always news there that, look, there is interest around the world on that fight. But then if it's going to happen, it should happen very soon now. Maybe it could happen early next year now, because if Manny Pacquiao has been at the ring as long as me, which it is around that time, or maybe longer. Manny's probably been at the ring for about a year and a half by to come January. I think he will definitely need a big fight, and he might come straight into a big fight instead. And I'm there for him.
Is that one you'll take them without a warm up?
Yes, I would. Yeah.
You said that without even thinking. Is there something that gives you speak about him, you read about you and him? You said what makes you think you can beat him? You said that without even thinking. Whereas if you went in with maybe a Mikey Garcia, a Broner even, you might want the warm-up.
See, with Manny Pacquiao, I think it's a fight that might not ever be there again. Obviously, he's
Right.
getting older as well. We don't know how long he's got left in his career. You might call it a day. He's very busy being a senator and now in government. So yeah, I think it's a fight that definitely is a big fight. The whole world will be tuned into that fight. Um, he's not getting any younger. Obviously, he's a lot older than me. So
Yeah.
for me, I think I've got that advantage on the age. So yeah, I think that's why I would think twice about it and take that fight.
Do you think we possibly, I mean, I think you've only boxed in Britain 4 times in the last 10 years. Have we seen the last of you now in this country? Because, you
No,
know,
I'd love to have one more big fight in the UK. Look, I love the UK fans, and whenever we fought here, it's been a massive sellout and it's been huge. But who knows? I mean, it just depends where the big fights have to be taking place. And I'm not one to, I'm always trying to push for England, but then it's the opponent. If it's a bigger name than me, then obviously they're gonna try, or if they got world title, then they're gonna try to have it where they want it. But if it's up to me, I'd love to have those fights in the UK if one comes up.
but also, as you say, at the stage of your career where you're looking at a couple more fights, you've got to go where the financial security is as well. So,
As well, yeah, that as well. I am in a very good position where financially I've secured myself, um, but yeah, if those big fights are there and there's a big number on the table, it'd be hard to turn down. Especially if you say we'll give you X amount million, and you'd be like, oh, okay, here, if I fight in the UK, I'm only going to get maybe 10% of that purse. So why not maybe go elsewhere? Yeah.
yeah. Have you sorted out who might train you for any future fights? I see you did some work with Lee Beard at your gym recently. Was there anything to read into there?
I mean, Lee's a brilliant coach, honestly, working on different techniques and stuff. And it's always good to try different coaches. And this is a little bit of advice I like to give to a lot of young fighters who are coming up. Give a try to other coaches because it does kind of bring you back in the game and brings that hunger back. Yeah, I mean, look, Lee B is a brilliant trainer. I've done a bit of training with him. I've trained with Bones Adam the fight before that. The fight before that was with Virgil Hunter. The trainer before Virgil was Freddie Roach. So I've tried numerous trainers. And I think definitely having to change the trainers, it just depends who the opponent is. If it's going to be a tough opponent, like say it's going to be a Manny Pacquiao, then you need one of the top trainers. You know what I mean? So, but if it's going to be like a tune-up, then it's not like a Bones Adam would be perfect again. So, or maybe a Lee Beard. So, yeah, I've got options open on that.
Yeah, I mean, and I know you would always advise young fighters there. Sorry, I'll go back to repeat the question. You always advise young fighters. You see nothing wrong with them changing because fighters always seem to get picked on when they move from trainer to trainer, don't they?
That's right. Yeah, fighters always get picked on, and they should never worry about that. They should just go with the heart, really, and they should never think about what's going to be said about them. You always think about yourself. Do what's best for you, and that's the advice I'd like to give all the young fighters, or even the older fighters out there. Change trainers. It's no harm in changing trainers. You're only going to learn new things, and they're only going to bring that hunger back in the body again.
Yeah, I mean, other fighters that are possible for you. Do you still look at people like Mikey Garcia, Adrian Broner, even a Thurman, those sort of guys?
Definitely. Look, they're the name. Look, that's where I belong with the top level fighters, and I want to fight the top names out there. Thurman's out there. You got maybe a rematch with Danny Garcia.
Yeah.
The other Garcia from LA. I mean, what would be Mikey Garcia would be amazing. Yeah. I mean, look, I've got a huge names out there in America and the UK who I can fight. So I'm in a very good position that it's quite easy to make those fights. So yeah, let's see how that goes.
Of all your defeats, which one rankles with you the most? Is it Danny Garcia or Lamont?
Yeah, definitely. I think the Garcia fight, with Lamont fight, look, I know, and I think everyone knows I won that fight, even though it was what it was. But I think the Garcia fight was one fight which I knew I let myself go, and I just I went off the game plan, away from the game plan, and I went in there guns blazing, where really I should have just boxed him the way I normally box. And I think, that was a fight that I really wanted to win because I wanted to win all the world titles again. And I think it still bugs me, could have been the Ring Magazine world champion, WBC world champion, but I let that go because I fought with my heart instead of my brain.
That's you though, isn't it? You've always
Gets you in trouble sometimes, but you know what? Sometimes it's in you to not listen to your corner and go in there guns blazing.
You've got to forget about entertaining sometimes. And
I know. Yeah, man. It's just in the blood, really, man. I just love a tear up sometimes which is not really my style. My style is of being a smart boxer, hit, move, and use the angles and everything. But sometimes you do get drawn up in a fight like that. So sometimes you have to stand there and say, you know what, I'm going to give it back to you the way you want it. But as I'm getting older now, I am a little bit more wiser, and I won't make those same mistakes I used to make before. But yeah, sometimes you might have to just show them who's boss as well and go back in it again.
Who wins Fury Joshua? Can you break that down for us?
Sorry. So yeah, I think Fury will win that fight. I think with Fury, I think he's got the better boxing skills. He's got the better boxing style. And I think with Joshua, look, Joshua, don't get me wrong, he's a big puncher. He can hurt you with a big shot. If he lands that, he's a good boxer. Look, at the end of the day, he's got the Olympic background on his side. But when it comes down to ring IQ, I just feel that Fury has that on his side. And I think he's shown that in his last fight, that with that power, him knocking out Deontay Wilder, which no one would have expected. I mean, who says he can't knock out Joshua the same way? See, he's got the confidence. And yeah, I think he's untouchable. I don't think anyone's going to beat him in the heavyweight division. I think he's got that boogie style which will beat any fighter out there. He knows he's unorthodox. He has his hands low. He's got hand speed. He's got power as well now, which a lot of people didn't think he had. So I think, to me, he is the best heavyweight out there.
Yeah. And finally, before we let you go, just tell us a bit about the charity work you've been doing the last few weeks.
So I've been doing a lot of charity work. Offered my building to the NHS, which I have in Bolton, to say, come and use it. Put your patients in there if you have any. But the numbers are quite low in this area of Greater Manchester, so which is a good news anyway. They didn't need it, but they did say that if they ever need it, they will get back in touch. I've been doing a lot of food box deliveries, going to different locations, Birmingham, Bradford, went to London, Manchester, all over, working with the MPs on giving food distributions and giving food boxes, having my academy changed to a food packing place where we've been packing food boxes. And I want to thank the companies like Poundland who supported us, and other big companies who got in touch and said, look, and Cash and Carries who come and supplied us with food to give to less fortunate people. So it wasn't only me, it was a group of people. We were a group that we had, which kind of together, we used the Amir Khan Foundation banner and donated food to the people that needed the most, and went to their doorsteps, dropped it off there, went to different other charity commissions and give them their food boxes, and also went to hospitals, giving them food boxes and stuff, and face visors and hand sanitizers. So little things that we did, and we're still doing that as we speak.
Yeah. Finally, Amir, you've had terrible racist abuse in the past. There's a lot of concerns about race issues in the country right now. What would be your message to everybody out there on that topic?
My message is, look, we all need to be united. We all need to be united. We need to love each other, be there for one another instead of fighting each other, beating each other up. Color doesn't mean anything. We should respect all colors. And I think I heard something that Joshua said about only going to only stick with your own blacks and going to their shops. And no, I mean I kind of disagree with that. I think you should be united. You should help all businesses. You should work with all different colors. You should spend time with all. You should look. I have friends being black, Asian, white, and I've been nothing but cool with them, and supported them, and giving food boxes to them and the family, and giving them aid, and giving them as much stuff as I can, through my charity foundation. So that, I think, when it comes to picking a color or picking a race, I think I disagree on that. I think we all have to be one. We all have to be there for each other. Especially going through this pandemic time now, I think this is where we all have to show love to one another, and this is the time now.
Thanks very much, Amir, for the interview today. You've been a star as always, and a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Steve. I'll speak to you soon, man.
For all boxing info, news, and latest interviews, amateur and pro, across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.